Hey, folks. It's a pleasure to be here and meet you all virtually in the first edition of Mobile DevOps Summit. Thank you to Bitrise and the organizing team for bringing this summit and having me here. So before we start, just out of curiosity, I did a Google search on the term mobile, which showed me that this is something able to move or to be moved freely or easily. And people think of this when they are using mobile phones or mobile applications. They need everything easily accessible, available, and portable. All this has to be delivered seamlessly to their palms. So many of us use many devices, multiple devices, and we switch between them throughout the day. So while commute, while work, while sitting in the couch, and while having dinner, we will be using multiple devices interchangeably. And according to Wall Street Journal, they say that a third of a smartphone user in the world check their phone within 5 minutes of waking. I'm one of them, and I know that you are also one of them. And while we switch between these devices we as users expect an equal and continuous experience across each one. And we prefer to have the same quality of experience across all the devices. So this picture is of the crowds gathering at St. Peter's Square in Vatican City to see newly selected Pope in 2005 and 2013. But you can notice a significant difference between these two pictures, right? So in 2005, majority of the people were looking at the Pope through their eyes, and only a few of them were holding mobile phones. And when it comes to 2013, with the rise of mobile phones and the mobile applications, majority of them, or almost all of them, were looking at the Pope using their mobile phone cameras. So mobile traffic has surpassed desktop traffic. The latest statistics shows that the current share of mobile traffic is actually 52.52%. And while we are talking, I'm sure that it is increasing. So according to various studies, an average person spends about 3 hours per day on a smartphone. So we wake up connected and we go offline only to sleep. With this in mind, focusing more on delivering quality applications for mobile has become a primary concern for many of the app development companies out there in the market. So are these numbers same? No, it looks the same, but it's a bit different. So this shows the consumer search for a variety of local information, and you can see the smartphone percentages are a bit more higher than when it compares to the computer one. And here, when we are looking at the mobile search moments, you can see 3 out of 4 mobile searches triggers to a follow activity or follow-up action. And these actions are the conversions, which in turn give some revenue to the mobile app companies. So if you see, it's three out of 4 is actually 75% of the transactions is getting converted. So it's not just a small screen, or it's not just a new screen. It is a brand new platform with tons of capabilities. And here, the mobile app testing world has gone through a paradigm shift in which quality assurance is actually shifting towards quality engineering concepts. And testing requires a mindset shift by applying modern testing principles. So this evolution had made it necessary for organizations to adapt to new trends and keep up with times. So seamless end user experience, performance, usability, user interface have become top priority for almost all the mobile app companies, as it directly impacts their retention rate, conversions, revenue, and all. So in this talk, I will explain some solid testing strategies we can keep in mind while testing mobile applications with a small shift of mindset, and therefore making sure our app ratings are always good. So my name is Nitin. I'm the founder of Synapse QA, a community space for testers, and working as an engineering manager at FAVE Malaysia. I was born and raised in India, where I started my career in testing. As someone who loves the testing craft, I'm fortunate enough to continue my passion by leading a wonderful team at FAVE and building a unique community space that helps testers to believe in themselves. So let's get started. I can vividly remember one of the horrors I faced due to poor mobile app performance, which occurred while traveling across Europe recently. I relied on mobile apps for getting from one place to another always, and it was pretty smooth until that day. So I had to book a flight to Prague. I found a flight, and 15 minutes later, I finished going through all the steps of purchasing the ticket. I hit submit, expecting to see a confirmation page that assured me everything has gone through successful and the transaction was perfect, right? Nope, nothing happened. The next page never loaded. After clicking the same submit button over and over again, with an expectation that I will be leading to the other next page, I got entered into a panic state as I was wondering what this meant to me and what happened to my wallet. Did my payment go through? Did I need to repeat all the process of filling over the information again? If I do that, would I be end up charging twice because maybe my first transaction might have went through and it is not redirecting me, right? So whether my fears got answered or not, it was not a pleasant experience, and I stopped using the app and lost trust in the company. I don't want to say the name. It was an application that offered cheapest tickets during that time. Okay. So it goes to show that one negative experience a customer has with your app can seriously trouble your end user relationship with them. Indeed, it's important for apps to work well in order to maintain or elevate a consumer's opinion of a brand, because a poorly functioning app could sour it. So the findings of a mobile app user survey conducted by Dimensional Research shows that 80% of app users will only attempt to use a problematic app 3 times less or less. And 36% said that app with slow performance issues made them have a lower rating for the company. And 84% of the users abandon an application after seeing 2 crashes. Do you want your app to be one of them uh, contributing to this percentage? No, absolutely not, right? So if we are looking at the statistics based on recent statistics on 2022, you can see 10 apps per, we as users, majority of us uses 10 apps per day and 30 apps per month. And 88% of our mobile time is spent on apps. And you can see the revenue projection, which is pretty huge in 2023. And again, in the last column, you can see 70% of mobile app users will abandon the app if it takes too long to load. And all these statistics actually says that how much importance we need to give to mobile app development and also mobile app testing. Before we see or before we get into the testing concept, we need to understand why our apps fail. So there are tons of reasons, among which I just curated few. Here you can see poor experience, poor bad UI, time lapse between transactions, missing details, complexity in usage, shaky backend support, and everything. All these aspects are actually solvable. We can solve all these things by having a proper approach or having a proper testing or development concept within our organization to test things continuously. If we do continuous testing or if we involve some of our beta testers earlier in the phase, we can solve these challenges early. So testing is mobile testing. Testing itself is complicated, and when it comes to mobile testing, it is even more complicated. Why? Because while your application is running, the phone or your application is actually interacting with a set of shared resources. Your phone is talking to network. You may be receiving calls. You may be getting messages. You may be getting Facebook and Twitter updates, notifications, whatnot, right? So all these leads to complicated test scenarios, which has a set of constraints. We are limited to screen size. We are limited to display resolutions. We are limited to bandwidth. We have unreliable networks, and when we test, the environment is not the same as our users. In the user context, they are continuously moving, they have varying contexts, they switch between devices, they use the devices from different places, and all those sort of things. And they do several tasks compared to us testers. They will be doing differently, right? So they will search while browsing in our app. They will do some communication. They will be making some calls while using our application, or they will be getting a call while using our application, or they make a transaction and they check something else. They will be opening the email application to see the transaction is messages or email is received or not. They will be playing games with our app running in the background. So and so there are a lot of things which is happening, and all these constraints restrict or make testing complicated. Before we go deeper, we need to start with the basics, right? So, what is testing? So, testing is an investigation conducted to provide stakeholders with information about the quality of the product and service under test. Again, what is quality? So, quality is value to some person who matters. The testing provides feedback about the quality of product, and feedback is extremely important. But remember, quality is a huge umbrella term for all the things that matter to people who matter. Learn what this is, and that can aid not only testing but all the departments in the company. So you will be thinking, is it different? The testing, is it different when it comes to mobile app? A lot is the same, but still a few concepts are different. So testers should be a constant explorer of ways how things can be improved. They should be able to coach and work together with others in areas that they could lack skills. They should be able to leverage customer data to improve things on the project side. They should accelerate the team members in their work while investigating in an event, removing that or removing a blocker and solve them down. They should challenge assumptions. They should understand users. They should do experiment, explore, they learn, and they should understand about the application. There are tons of possibilities. While many of them are same, there should be a different approach which we need to perform when it comes to mobile app testing. So what's the difference, right? All the mobile app projects are shorter in duration. Releases are faster. The testers need to work closely with the design teams. Usability and user experience matters the most. Hardware influence the software more. Testers should act as customer advocates. Pairing should happen quite frequently. You need to pair with designers. You need to pair with developers. You need to pair with product owners. You should talk to your users more. Don't finally follow requirements. When it comes to mobile app requirements, the acceptance criteria it won't be possible to cover all the scenarios in the acceptance criteria. So you shouldn't be following blindly on the requirements only. Consider context-driven approaches or exploratory testing approaches more into your testing style. Understand your users and what could make you a superhero. Out of all this point, I can just conclude within 2 words. It's flexible and agile. So you should be flexible and you should be agile, and you should have a great understanding of technology and trends, and ask more questions basically, and advocate on the things which you own. And you should be able to coach the team with how to deliver good quality. So don't just test, think like a user, start to observe and question. So in order to maximize testing, we should have some handy resources along with us whenever we need while testing something. So I just curated a few out of my toolbox to share with you all. And the first one of it is heuristics and mnemonics. So heuristics are a set of ideas that could help us generally when we are to solve challenges faster. And mnemonics help us to generate testing ideas out of it. So any testing problem you are solving, you can apply this set of heuristics and mnemonics to generate a wide possibility of testing ideas. So these are the three. I just compiled these three, which could be applied in any scenarios when you are testing a mobile application. You can apply these three mnemonics, and it basically covers everything, every aspect or a wide variety of spectrum. So it covers location, it covers orientation, it covers network, it covers the gestures, it covers function, and it covers user scenarios, which would be mapping back to your app functionality. It will cover notifications, it will cover communication, it will cover the updates and platform related stuff, something like guidelines, HIG, review, etc. So all these aspects will be covered in the mnemonic. So you just need to refer to that whenever you are testing something and generate your testing ideas out of it. So I'm not saying you should refer to all of it. Maybe you can pick one out of it and try it out while testing something, or maybe you can generate your own mnemonics, a new one, right? So try it out and see how it can help you in your testing. And this mobile app testing heuristic checklist, I created inspired from Jacob Nelson's usability heuristics. So I just added on top of that into a testing perspective, some of the testing ideas which can go along with the usability heuristics, which we can refer to. You can find it. I'm not sure whether it's really visible, so you can find it here from the link below. So it covers when you are testing your mobile application, you should ensure that the user is getting a visible application status. There is a visible application status for the user. You should always ensure that there is a match between system and the real world. So if we are completely building something entirely different from the real world, and the user is not able to correlate that, then it doesn't make sense. So you need to ensure that there is a match. You need to ensure that there is a seamless user controls. There is consistency in the designs with the existing apps and the previous versions of your own app. You should always, we users tend to have fat finger syndrome, so we should ensure that error prevention methods are there, recognition rather than recall, and flexibility and efficiency of use we need to ensure. And we should always go for a minimalistic design. Your app shouldn't be clumsy, and it doesn't feel like it's too much contents inside that app and users couldn't relate with any of those. So we help our users to recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. So if they type something wrong, we provide an undo option. We provide a save history to help them continue from where they left off, and those sort of things. And we provide proper help documentation. We have onboardings in place. We have education in place. So users can easily refer to those kind of things we need to ensure. And we always ensure that there is pleasurable and respectful interaction. So users dislike typing, right? So we provide some autofill options. We provide some sliders and all those sort of things, which makes it easy for the users. And we ensure that we have privacy measures in place. So when it comes to mobile app, usability is one of the key area which we need to focus. Usability is the extent to which a product can be used with effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction in a certain context of use. So usability is more important because it's a smaller screen and more difficult to interact with. And we should ensure that how easy our app is to interact, and did users just get it, or are they feeling hard time to understand our app and use it, right? So these all things which we need to take in our mind when we are approaching or testing a mobile application. And we should be customer advocates. So basically, we need to understand our users. So we need to get ourselves involved and approach testing in a data-driven way. We need to get some data. And with that data, we generate certain personas, we generate some profiles and all those sort of things. In order to generate this data, you need to collaborate with others. And also you need to understand the market and technology trends. So with all these data, what we will get is we generate user personas, we can create user profiling, we can have industry statistics, which helps our testing ideas. We can have, we need to review the App Store and Play Store reviews to see how our users feel when they are using our application. We need to refer to the analytics, and we should also be including beta testing or harness the power of the crowd while we are launching something. So we could get earlier feedback. And also we are really close with our users to get feedback and get it sorted, right? So what we do is we actively check App Store and Play Store reviews. So if there is a suggestion, if there is an issue faced by an user, we actually take it up and have a common discussion with our stakeholders and bring it in front of the table and get it sorted. Or maybe in the next release, we will try to do something to solve that challenge. So always consider your user and be customer advocates. So personas are composite user archetypes that represent distinct group of behaviors, attitudes, aptitudes, goals, and motivation. And these can be identified with the data you have. So with the help of the data, you generate certain personas. The personas will be helping you to generate your testing ideas. These personas can be embedded into your testing process, and these can help you to execute in a way that how your user is interacting with your app. So next concept is testability. So the designing on implementing a software so it is easier to test. That is what testability means. We ensure that our app is testable. In order to do that, we should always have a separation of concerns, and we should isolate the complex code. So we should break it down. The big problems, we need to break it down into smaller problems, and we need to ensure that the ease of interfering or the transparency of states and behavior is already embedded into the system. So it helps us to make sure that testing can be automated easily, and it also helps us to make sure that testing can be interactive and iterative. So turn big problems into small problems, smaller tests, or smaller attributes of code, will be easier to maintain and brings more value. Automation. So when it comes to automation, you'll be thinking like we can automate anything, but I want to remind you that automate the right things, not all things. So understand what fits your team, start simple and build on top of it. Know the right approaches and fundamentals, have dashboardings in place, integrate visual UI tests that could help you to do user interface testing, going along with your functional testing, embed client-side performance tests so that it will cover during your functional test execution, it will cover client-side performance metrics as well. Ensure that you have parallel executions to make sure maximize the speed of automation and you can have faster release cycle. You leverage cloud device providers rather than going for device labs or complex settings and all. So you can get device and OS randomization capability. Use autonomous testing boards. There are many out there in the market. Maybe you can refer to those and have some testing conducted using the autonomous testing board. Integrate the intelligent capability of automation, like self-healing to help you debug easier, and have those all embedded into the automation framework of yours to get things done faster. And have a device fragmentation. So don't use all the devices, rely on data, understand what your customers use or will use, and group your devices based on a targeted user group. You create certain categories or group it as group 1, group 2, group B, and cover certain devices over there. And evaluate again to see if there is any gap. You leverage cloud services for that. And then you need to understand how your app performance work, how the app behaves with shared resources, how it takes up hardware, understand how the application behaves in heavy load and peak timing, and have proper monitoring in place. Also ensure that security aspects are covered. Validate the permissions, handling of cookies, certificates, guidelines, refer to OWASP, mobile test security testing project, and so and so. And involve some specialist if you are not really expert in doing that. And ensure that your app is accessible and you have proper controls in place, alt text in place, voice controls in place, how readable it is, and all those sort of things. So now let me talk about modern testing in the mobile app testing context. So it is termed by Alan Page and Brett Jensen. So as you see here, the mission of modern testing concept is to accelerate the achievement of shippable quality. And you can see that accelerate is there, right? And when it comes to mobile app testing, the word that matters is accelerating your release cycle. So I don't want to go deeper into all of this. So it is more about improving the business with a customer-centric mindset. You accelerate the team, remove the bottlenecks, and you continuously improve and you learn from your mistakes. And you care deeply about quality and bring a quality culture into the team. And then we believe that customer is the judge who can evaluate. So QA is not a gatekeeper. And we use data. We refer to data whenever and as much as we need. And we expand the testing abilities across the team and make it as a whole team approach into testing to speed in our life cycle. And generate experience strategy with customer-centric. On a customer perspective, we generate experience strategy that can help our testing concepts. And there is a new term which is coined by me, user-centered testing, UCT. So UCT will help you to generate user-centric testing ideas. So you identify your end users, you understand their goals, you understand their needs, and you develop testing ideas based on your end users and involve them earlier to get things delivered with quality. So supposing is good and finding out is still better. And finally, what matters is, are we building the right thing? Is it easy to use? Do they want to use it? And are we building valuable, usable, and enjoyable products? With that said, thank you so much for listening to me. And I hope you have learned some insight about testing strategies for mobile apps. It's been a pleasure, and I'm here to answer your questions in the chat. Thank you so much.